Yo, what's up? So this is my first time doing a build video, and I had a couple people ask me if I could do one for Stormdancer'S brace. I'm actually gonna show you two different versions of this build, so you probably have a little bit more to work with, whatever attunes to your play style. I'm also gonna show you some weapons to use with them. So, Stormdancer'S brace, what it does is Storm Trance hits and final blows increase the damage it deals, refunds super energy when it ends, ability damage while amplified grants full charge. Right? So, obviously, you're going to need Storm Trance to use this. Now, I'm actually going to go to the firing range just to give you a idea. Okay, so this is what this is what Storm Trance is doing with out Storm Dancer's brace. Okay, pretty low. All right, and now do it with Stormdancer'S brace on. Pretty sizable amount. So the main thing, definitely though, it does do a good amount of damage. Like 11k ain't bad, right? But when you're able to get it over and over again, that's when it really comes into play. So I think stats that you're obviously going to want to invest in is super. But for the arc version of the build, I think you more so want to also invest in grenade, because the turrets scale off of grenade now. Using Ionic Sentry, you could opt out to use Arc Soul, or you could use Ionic Sentry with Arc Soul, but I'm using Ionic Sentry with Electrostatic Mind. I'm using Storm Grenade, Ball Lightning, then a Healing Rift. Then for my fragments, using Spark of Resistance, Recharge, Magnitude, and Shock. Now, depending on how you want to build this, like let's say that you're using like an arc weapon, which I'm actually going to start getting into weapons in a second, you could probably use like Spark of Discharge, which would probably be better for, like, say that you wanted to use like Delicate Tune or Thunderlord or something like that. So yeah, that's how I have the subclass set up. In terms of my mods, it's going based off of what I'm using right now, but like I said, it can change. But I think what you should definitely put on, if you're prioritizing super, use this super font, and then also use power preservation so your teammates can also get their super back faster. And if they get their super back faster, that means they're going to generate orbs, and then you're going to, you see what I'm saying? It's a very big loop. And I have a kinetic siphon on for the helmet, and for the gloves at firepower, because I'm using Ionic Sentry as much as I can, and then obviously whenever I get a grenade, just whenever I get a grenade kill, right? I don't even know why I have this on, to be honest. I don't even really think it matters. But, right? And then a grenade font, just so I can basically take my grenade stat up to like 130. Chest piece doesn't really matter. Put whatever you want. Now, this is just me. whenever I pick up an orb, it's going to give me additional armor charge. So I'm just going to be sitting with 2 so I can have my grenade stat and my super stat go on for much longer. I don't think anything else is really that important. Maybe if you want some health, you put that on there. But and then for the class item, I just have bomber, and I'm barely using my class item, so I put on 2 time dilations. I don't know how much they actually stack together, but with this build, you basically always have an armor charge. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to using your abilities. In terms of artifact mods, I actually don't have it set up for this build specifically, right? But I would, because I'm using like the Praxic Blade or whatever, I probably try to prioritize Sword Storm combo, Elemental Orbs, Arc, Dielectric, Kinetic Synthesis, you know, stuff like that. Now, in terms of weapons, right? Weapons that I think that is good for this version, the Arc version of this build, basically, and obviously anything kinetic and anything Arc, right? Definitely Praxic Blade is pretty good with this. Peculiar Charm, I have Attrition Orbs Kinetic Tremors roll, so I can also like generate orbs from that as well. Now this is a little bit more of an aggressive build, right? But I do have like one, it's all long range, but like obviously swords are like close range, right? It's just different because this is a caster frame, and then you can also throw this, so I think you still want to have long range options, like 2 long range options while having at least 1 close range, if that makes sense. So Supremacy or Praeless Revenge, whatever your pick is, that would also be good. And also depending on if you want, because this is also an aggressive build, so let's say that you want to take this into like a Grandmaster or something. Yeah, it has barrier champion, it has barrier stunning capabilities, but you can also opt in for Revision 0. It's still going to hit pretty hard. Obviously some more that you can take advantage of, Choir of One, but like I said earlier, Delicate Tune would also be a good option. Ergo Sum. I think as long as you have Arc Conductor on it, it's good. I don't really think the frame matters, but I guess if you want a little bit more damage, just get a caster frame. And Trinity Ghoul, because bows are for unstops and stuff, so that would be nice. Psi Eterna, Vantage Point, and maybe not the Prosecutor specifically, but if you have a weapon that is Arc and has Golden Tricorn, you could definitely take advantage of that with this build and using the Ionic Sentry. Yeah, and another artifact mod that could also definitely go hard is Kinetic Rupture. So you definitely opt in to take in Microcosm if you want to do more damage with your Storm Trance, Tractor Cannon for sure. This sniper is actually pretty good, the refurbished A499. I don't really know what to use with it most of the time, except for aggregate charge and auto-loading holster. If I don't really care about doing that much damage to a boss and I just want to shoot it and put away, then you know what I'm saying. But this sniper does a good amount of damage, so I'd opt in for aggregate charge most of the time. And even then, if I just want to shoot it and put away, and also have aggregate charge or chill clip or something, then this would also be the play. Submersion. All right, so that's just explaining the arc version of this. I'm going to explain now the prismatic version, right? Because I think the way that you have to play the prismatic one is very different. So for this, you're gonna want to prioritize melee and super, obviously. Um, then for the actual kit itself, you're gonna be using Devour. You're gonna be using Lightning Surge, right? You use whatever grenade that you want, but I'm using Cold Snap. And then use the Arcane Needle, but you're not using the Arcane Needles for real. You're just using Lightning Surge. And I have Phoenix Dive on for this with Facet of Courage, Facet of Devotion, Facet of Protection, Facet of Sacrifice, and Facet of Honor. Now, most of these are honestly just to get the melee stat up, to be honest, and the grenade stat up. But also for afflicted targets with darkness debuffs. So if I shoot this, or if I use the Cold Snap grenade and then I use the Lightning Surge, and it'll do a little bit more damage. Stuff like that. Now you could opt in, like if your melee stat is high enough, you could opt in to just put in Facet of Dawn so you could be Radiant. But in my personal opinion, like depending on what it is, like 5 seconds of Radiant really isn't that important. But it can be in a lot of different scenarios, right? And in terms of the mods that I was using, so obviously you see the weapons I'm using, Peculiar Charmed, Choir of One, and Qua Invictus right there. The mods that I was using was Kinetic Entropy Siphon, Power Preservation, and then Hands On. I can get more super from when I'm using my melee ability. And then for the hands, got heavy-handed, the melee font. I just have this on there. Just in case I need to get my Cold Snap back or whatever. Chest piece doesn't really matter. And I kind of opted out to take out Absolution and put in Invigoration. But Stacks on Stacks is still here and Recuperation is still here. And then these two, I actually switched this piece from this. So whenever I use my Phoenix Dive, I'm gonna get some melee back. We're putting on Time Dilation, and then we also have on Reaper, so we can get an orb. And in terms of mods, because we're also taking advantage of Devour, we can also take advantage of Singularity Blade. So whenever we use our Lightning Surge, we can weaken. Then Void Infestation as well. Also, I have Breaking Up Armorsmith. Oh. And we also have Armorsmith here. We can increase our melee damage. Now, in terms of weapons, I think one of the things that you need to focus on for sure is getting your Transcendence meter back as fast as possible. And so you're going to want a mixture of light and dark weapons, or maybe even a kinetic weapon. So any kinetic weapon will do. Um, I also think Bastion might also be a really good play. You're going to be you're going to be like sliding. You're going to be like Warlock sliding around a lot. So like for chunkier targets, this could be really good. In terms of filling up both sides of the meter, obviously Praxic Blade is good. Revision Zero, Peculiar Charm. But if you want to focus on just the darkness side of the meter, I think Lost Signal with auto loading is probably like the best option that you could go. Now I know probably more people are trying to use Festival Flight, but and you can use it. You could definitely use it for sure. It's just, I think, um, just shooting it and putting it away might be a little bit better, but I don't know. Low key, Festival Flight does have stronger perks, so I would not blame you if you wanted to use that over Lost Signal. Or if you want to do the same thing for the light side, you know, I think this is a good pick. Maybe you want to put Attrition Orbs on it so you can get your Play Font. Or even if you have a Super Font on, if you want that. You know what I'm saying? I think this is also a good pick. Now, again, you could also take advantage of Golden Tricorn in this situation as well, if you wanted to. But legendary primaries aren't really doing that good these days, unfortunately. But yeah, Choir of One was definitely one that worked for me very, very well with this build. So, you could probably opt out to, like, even taking this out, putting in Void Weapon Surge, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, to help fill out, when I was doing my testing with the build earlier this morning, I was using Quab Vinctus 4. I mean, it was okay. I definitely would probably recommend, like, if you want to fill up the darkness side of the meter, I definitely recommend something like Lost Signal or Festival Flight. Even Lionfish or maybe even Riptide could be a good option. Mint Retrograde is obviously always a good option, but if you want to fill that meter up pretty quickly, then I'd probably opt out for the Wayframe grenade launchers. Or not Wayframe, I'm sorry, the Aerial Denial grenade launchers. Yeah, even Finality's Augur. Right? You use this with Lost Signal, and like you want to take advantage of Golden Tricorn with the Lightning Surge. Could be for a fun time. You're filling up for, both sides of the meter pretty much at all times. You know, like, yeah, it definitely does sound like a fun time. Now, in terms of the armor sets for like both builds, I just personally went with Smoke Jumper and Tech Sec. Obviously, you can use whatever you want. But yeah, that is pretty much it. If you found this informative, I would appreciate if you leave it a like and subscribing. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Peace.